Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite takeaways from day 2 of the doTERRA online convention. So today was a magical day. I don't know about you, but that first session blew me away. I was so impressed with the owner's vision, their story, things like that. So let me just back up. So today started out with a message from David Sterling. And I love hearing from David because he has such a gentle soul with such great vision, such amazing vision for this beautiful company. Now, every time I go to convention, I'm reminded why I joined doTERRA. Why I, who was probably the biggest skeptic about essential oils, fell in love with the product and the company. This company is so committed to pursuing what is pure. And that has been so amazing to hear today as we go through a session. I guess this is, I can't decide if it's session 1, if last night was like 0.5, or if it's session 2 and 3. Let's just call it session 2 and 3. So here are just a few of my thoughts. First of all, if you can go back and watch the origin story of doTERRA, it will inspire you. I'm telling you guys, this is something I want to watch every week while I grow my business, because we all know we have times in our businesses where we get discouraged, maybe we lose sight, we lose that vision. And as I was watching the owners share about starting a company from nothing, about going to investors and deciding, nope, we're not going to go with investors. We are going to put our own money into this and create a debt-free company. You guys, this is so huge. Do you know how big that is in the direct sales / MLM industry? We have such a secure company that we are a part of, and I love this. Not to mention just starting this day off with being able to interact and listen to these amazing owners. There's not one, there's not two, there are 7 amazing owners who are all very high caliber people. I don't feel like we've got any crazy, extravagant owners that you're a little nervous might go and do something wild, these owners are stable and they are very consistent. And I just love that. So a couple of the quotes that I loved, David Sterling, I can't remember if it was David Sterling or David Hill, who said, doTERRA is the gold standard in the essential oil industry. I love it how we are set apart. And David Sterling also said, doTERRA was built for times like this. And the reason why he said that is because doTERRA literally started during the last recession and grew to be a multi-billion-dollar company from that recession time. And so I love it that during these times, we have so much security. Let's see here. What else? I'm just looking through some of my notes. I loved Simone. Can we just talk about him? He did such a fabulous job as he helped introduce all of the different speakers that were speaking. And he took us through the lab where they do all of their testing, which, by the way, if you're brand new to essential oils and you're like, oh my gosh, doTERRA oils are expensive. The stuff that you get anywhere else, any other company, is guaranteed to be adulterated, because nobody else on the planet is taking the care that it requires for us to have pure, unadulterated essential oils. Now, they did have some of the growers on, and in Italy, where we get our bergamot and our citruses, they had one of the main growers on there who their family had been growing citrus and distilling them into essential oils for years and years, multi-generational. And she said, let me just see if I could find it here. She said something like, we go through 700,000 tons of, so tons is 1,000, right? So 700 tons of bergamot oil a year. And she said, but only 300 tons are produced pure. So that leaves us, and maybe I'm quoting this wrong, I probably should go back and rewatch it, But her whole point was a huge portion of our industry is not being truthful with what is in their essential oils. And she talked about how, especially for citrus, it's easy to adulterate those and copy the chemical constituents and make them synthetic, which then often cause side effects. So I loved that. I loved hearing from the growers. We heard from our esoteric growers in Bulgaria who they're growing yarrow, rose, lavender, and just to hear how it has literally changed the face of that country. That country is like, I love the partnerships that doTERRA does with their CoImpact Sourcing, where they go in and they don't grow the plants, but they help the farmers create a sustainable, not only plant, but business. And they pay them a fair wage. And if you have the chance to watch the doTERRA convention, every year I am blown away by the testimony of these growers who we are exclusive with. So a lot of people will say, oh, my oils are the same as doTERRA. But the fact of the matter is, I want to say it's something like 92% of our essential oils are grown by exclusive growers. So like we're not getting the same oils as any other company. And the reason why is because doTERRA pays a fair wage to these farmers, and they set up a contract so it's a year-round thing. It's not just like a one harvest thing. This is why people like Hugh Jackman love partnering with doTERRA, because they understand how important it is to give the power to the growers so that they can better their community and not go in and steal oils from them or undercut or pay them. Or in fact, today, some of the growers said that they, sometimes wouldn't even get paid. It's like, oh, we'll pay you later. And then they would either pay them less or not at all. So it's just so amazing to be a part of such a fantastic company with so much integrity. Emily Wright at one point said, we are doing this to give people freedom. And she was saying that about talking about going to investors as they wanted to start the company. So instead of taking investor money, they were offered $5 million. They all mortgaged their homes and did not take a paycheck for 13 months. So that they could have a company that was free, that their wellness advocates were not tied to these investors and what the investors wanted to do to make, the most profit off of that. So super, super, super inspiring. I love, love, love it. Let's see. David Sterling said, sacrifice is a really important piece to setting a foundation. And he was saying that about starting the business. And I thought that was so powerful, because even though each one of us is not putting together a $1 billion company, we are growing our own companies. And it's important that we sacrifice. And sometimes for us, we're just sacrificing time. We're not having to like mortgage our homes, pull all of our 401ks out to do this business. We are just having to put our time and effort into it. Emily also said, we are stewards of what nature has created for us. I love that. Dr. Hill said, we haven't changed in our purpose. So he was talking about, when they started years ago, it's still the same. He also said, as crazy as it sounds, we are still just beginning. And I love that, you guys, because so many times people are like, oh, essential oils are everywhere. But the fact of the matter is, like, they have such huge vision with what we're doing. And so it's super fun to like have that be a part of us, have that vision be a part of us. So Dr. Hill also said, this was an interesting segment, and I actually typed into my team, like, did you hear this the way that I did and they all did too? He said that nearly all other essential oils, 95 to 98% of them, are not pure, and they know that because of the cost of what they're charging for them. And so that was so interesting. I really feel like they're peeling back the mask that like the world has had over the essential oil industry, and making it almost impossible to hide the fact if you're doing a pure oil or a synthetic essential oil. So they had a couple great sources that came in from outside doTERRA who are also studying essential oils who concurred with that. At one point, somebody quoted Dr. Hill and said, we don't buy farms, we build farmers. You guys, I love that. That's like so huge. I love it that you know, we don't boast about how we own all of our own farms. We empower people with essential oils. That has always been the message of doTERRA, and I love that. I love that message, and it resonates because we don't go in and take over these farms and take away from the income that these people have been doing for centuries, not centuries. I guess what I'm trying to say is generations. That's the word I'm looking for. Because when you talk to these growers, like if we're not going to give them the chance to do what they've been doing for generations because we're going to buy our own farms and do our own thing, like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like a good use of talents. Our farmers love what they do and they're so good at it. And I love that aspect of it. I love it that doTERRA has not taken that away from them. They've allowed them to maintain their sense of dignity, and they've helped train them to create the most amazing product in the world, literally. Another thing that they said was doTERRA is positioned perfectly right now because of our CoImpact Sourcing and, you know, just everything that they've done to prepare for the future. Emily Wright said, I see doTERRA as a vehicle that connects humanity. And that just speaks to the heart of doTERRA. You guys, like, if you love doTERRA, like, will you just put in the comments below why you love doTERRA so much? Because for me, you know, often when people are like, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, guess what? I sell essential oils. No, I help connect humanity. And she also said, if you have help, you have hope. And if you have hope, you have everything. And then she said, we're hope dealers because we give people hope on so many different avenues, between giving them hope with the essential oils and giving them hope financially, giving the farmers, like the bottles, these bottles of essential oils, they are wrapped in love, you guys. I just love it. Let's see. So I believe one of the owners said, and I can't remember which one this was, he said, we in the US these days are suffering from a kindness shortage. That was huge. And he just talked about how it's our duty to be kind. We work directly with the farmers. We don't take that from them. We work with them. doTERRA has huge heart, huge integrity. And let me just see, I'm still scanning through my notes. Oh, this was huge. They talked all about clove essential oil. Wow, you guys, like, mind blowing. They talked about how the clove industry, like all these other clove oils are not actually pure clove essential oil. So ours is clove bud essential oil, and they said that a lot of other companies pull from the stem or the leaves, and that's actually not part of the good clove oil. They said at one point, source the best, help the most. Once again, we're back to those farmers. Like, we're not going to take this from them. We are going to empower them and help them be successful. Okay, let's see here if there's anything else. I'm just scrolling through all my notes. They had an awesome guy on. His name was Mark, and he runs an aroma therapy or aroma institute down in Texas. And he was fascinating. They're going to actually publish some studies that they've been doing. Oh, and he talked about the Lavender Study. Like, can anybody like raise their hand in the comments below if you've heard of the Lavender Study that they have said they found that it increased the breast size in young boys. Well, he did some digging and some research into this. Now, he does not work for doTERRA. He has an organization where they basically are trying to gather correct information about studies. And he said they looked at that study and found that the only common element that they had was that these kids were taking a bath with, it sounds like, a lavender soap. So it wasn't even lavender essential oil. And that's what he said. He's like, they published this study without even really like isolating and giving it a good, like doing it the right way, where you're like, okay, there were all these different components to it. So they couldn't necessarily say it was a lavender product, and because there were other things that were also correlating with that as well. So that was fascinating. I loved that. I thought that I'm excited for them to publish that once they're completely done really digging into that, because I get that from people sometime. And I'm just like, it's not true. It's like, that's a bad study. That's not how it really went. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else? Knowing what is in the bottle is the foundation of safety. That was a quote that they said. I loved that. Let's see here. And we all wanted a lab coat. Like, who would love a lab coat in the swag store? You guys, it like says doTERRA on it. Like, it was super fun going through the lab. I was really impressed because most of our certified pure therapeutic standards that they go through, all the tests that they go through to make sure that they're pure, most people do the GCMS testing, which they explained, you put it into this box-like thing, and it will show you all the different levels, and then they can tell like what the constituents, the chemical constituents are in the oil. And so what the scientist was saying was that when you do that type of a test, that's fine and dandy. Awesome. Okay, so now you can see the chemical makeup of it. But the next test that doTERRA does that everybody else doesn't do is a test. They put it into another testing compartment thing, and it tests to see if it's got mercury in it, if it's got lead in it, if it, like, what are the bad constituents that are in it, because this one doesn't tell you the bad ones. So everybody's like bragging about doing this one, but they're not testing for these other things as well. So that was like huge. I was super glad to go through that portion. And so I would highly recommend that if you're interested in finding out like why doTERRA is the purest essential oil on the planet, the gold standard, it's because of all the testing that we do. Literally, they prove that we have a pure oil, and other companies don't actually do that. Let's see here. Okay. I think that we're getting to the end. One of the growers, somebody was telling a story about going and visiting, I want to say the growers in Bulgaria, and she asked, and she just said, why do you work with doTERRA? And they said, because they treat us like family. So I love just how kind they are. Really, doTERRA, the heart of doTERRA is to serve humanity. So that is a recap of, actually, I guess that's a recap of part 1. Part 2 was amazing as well. Part 1 just had like a huge impact on me. Part 2 was all sciencey. So if you're totally into the science, please jump in and watch it. You can still buy a convention ticket. We talked about, or they talked about immunity, and it was really fascinating to hear the studies that they've been doing with On Guard, and how to boost our immune systems naturally, how to support our immune systems naturally. And they talked about rest, stress, eating healthy, all those different things were super, super important. So sorry I spent the majority of this video on session 1. It was so amazing, you guys. We have this big chat group going on in our team page, and everybody was crying, and they were like typing like, this is so amazing, because like you just can't help but feel all the feels when you really dig into the heart of doTERRA. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this. Be sure to check back tomorrow for day 3 recap, and have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye.